So, of course, starting today with the situation in Ukraine, heartbreaking scenes over the weekend as we saw families continuing to flee for safety. This is amid President Putin's war against them and their country. Front-page pictures today, and all across the news, is desperate parents with children cramming onto trains. Literally, these people fleeing for their lives and leaving husbands and brothers and partners behind. Really, really shocking scenes. And you feel helpless, Colleen, watching it, don't you?
Helpless, heartbroken, can't compute it in my brain to what they are feeling and what they are going through. It's like watching just one of those movies that you watch and go, please let this never happen again. And here it is happening again. And, yeah, it just breaks my heart and makes me feel helpless, makes me feel terrified, I'll be honest, all of it. And I think that's the thing as well, you know, because now we have social media and the news is always on, and so we're bombarded with everything. And I've said I just can't watch it at the moment because it's sleepless nights, and I'm trying. My daughter's getting really panicky about it all, and also it's good because they're going, what can we do? How can we help? You know, but it's just.
I think maybe that's it, Carol, isn't it? Is trying to focus on what... I mean, I donated this morning to one of the charities that are collecting for everything, you know, for essentials for hospitals, for food, for blankets, talking about refugees. I mean, going to be thousands, million, actually, more refugees.
Yeah, they think 500,000 have already left, going into Poland and neighbouring countries, obviously, because it's much easier to get there. And I think for the UK, I think they've said they will accept people with direct family here from the Ukraine, but not otherwise. I suppose, in a way, it's geographically, it's not the easiest place for them to get to because they've got to cross so many other countries, and as I understand it, there's no flights at the moment. But at the same time, for the government, for our government to say we won't accept anybody unless they've got immediate family, when, you know, we know full well that a lot of people just come into this country without papers, without anything, and whether or not you believe they're all refugees or whether you think a lot of them are economic migrants, which they probably are, if they destroyed their papers, and for them to say that these people from the Ukraine are genuine refugees and they're just not going to accept them without visas.
Well, the other...
shocking.
Yeah,
It is
shocking. It is pretty hypocritical,
The 27 nations in the EU have unanimously decided to accept the refugees without asylum applications.
For 3
in
years.
Britain, it's for 3 years. In Britain, it's saying just immediate family members. But the Home Secretary, Liz Truss, is due to give a statement to the House of Commons this afternoon. So there's a possibility that could change.
They're having
there's quite a lot of criticism. And Kelly, we were talking about feeling like, what could you do? And we were saying, you know, could you imagine yourself in that situation, literally having hours, moments to take your things, your family, your children, your pets, and leave your home, and saying, would you give up a room in your home to a refugee? And we had that discussion, but you've done something similar.
Yeah, I mean, I had somebody that I knew at a distance who said, you know, just basically was saying what was going on in their lives, and it was tragic. And they actually worked at a call centre at the time, and they were saying, this has happened, and I've fallen on really difficult times, and it was an abusive relationship. All kinds of things were going on. And I just said, well, just come to my house. I've got a spare room. It's yours and it's available. And just feel comfortable, because, God forbid, if the shoe was on the other foot, I would want to think that someone somewhere would help. We've got thousands of people in our own country that are homeless and that don't have shelter. So for me, providing what I thought was something very simple, a roof over their heads and a safe place to be, I didn't think that was too much to ask.
How long did she stay for?
She ended up staying for about 6 months. But it's a really lovely story, because they ended up winning the lottery.
Well, yeah.
Which was amazing.
Yeah,
it was amazing. And then that helped them to get themselves back on their feet. But, you know, I think it's about human to human at the end of the day. All the politics, sit that aside for a second. You know, my church is doing all that they can to collect stuff for the families that are going to be left without homes. I think it's just about us pulling together, doing the things that we can do. I know that we do feel helpless, but it's about doing what we can do and focusing on that, I think.
I think that's what there are scenes that, you know, the whole thing, as you said, is very scary, it's very worrying, it's shocking to watch, you feel helpless. But those moments where you see people pulling together, I mean, now literally they are fighting, some of them, you know, prepared to fight with their bare hands. I think when you see communities come together like that, a country determined, you know, that they will fight, they will stand and fight. And again, it makes you think, what person would you be? You know, would you go? I think if you've got young children, that's different. But, you know, would you stay? Would you stay and fight? You know, they're also saying now, the Home Secretary again has said that they would accept that some people might want to go to the Ukraine and help fight, and that would be acceptable. I kind of think if that was your son, Colleen, and they, you know, if he said, or if Jack said, do you know, I want to go over, I want to help them, because this is not just about Ukraine, it's about Europe, or could be. You know, how would you feel if your
well,
son
as a
wanted
mother,
to go?
I'd want to go, absolutely not, you're not. I couldn't bear it. Equally, as a mother, I'd be very proud that he was wanting to, you know what I mean? And he's an adult, so he can make his own choice, but I would hate it. I just would.
Of course, like, I mean, my son is completely a little mini humanitarian. He so likes to fight on other people's behalf. And, you know, if he was of that age and he said to me, I want to go, I'd probably pack a bag and go with him, because I'd have so much respect and admiration for such a grown-up, mature decision for someone to fight for a country that you've never been to, you don't know anyone that's there, but you feel that sense of injustice so much that you want to go and do something about it physically. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, we're talking about the refugees. We spoke to refugees at home this morning. They're saying that they're disappointed at the restrictive visa measures being enforced by the UK government, and other charities urging the government to welcome more refugees from the conflict, including Save the Children, Amnesty International, Refugee Council. So maybe that statement from the Home Secretary
I think they're having a talk this afternoon, aren't they?
Yeah,
so hopefully that will change.
I mean, the situation is changing all the time, isn't it? So we'll keep our eye on that one.